Because there's no reason why I came into the office and got a food stamp card, and my stamp should be gone on my card within 30 days.
About to go to jail up in this bitch.
Getting nothing through the mail. They've been trying to give me a card through the mail for months, and I never got it, so I came up here.
What I tell y'all? Didn't I tell you?
It ain't even been 30 days, and my stamp told me I got recycling report. And yeah, I got the law person in the driveway because I didn't follow it. Yeah, I don't need that sitting out they stove. I'm a good booster.
Damn.
Fuck you mean? That's why I never needed them.
Okay, bro.
That's why I don't get with. Please, come on, this one. Can I have a form, please? You don't do people like that.
Show them.
Especially behind no goddamn kids.
Show them. Show them.
At all.
At all.
And they had the law clerk sitting in the middle of the driveway. But tell them that y'all robbing folks.
Okay.
The caption or the description for this says, unemployed mom chooses food stamps over a job.
What do you do for a living?
Right now, I'm doing nothing.
So we don't bring in any income? How do you pay for food on the table? You probably get food stamps, don't you?
I do.
But you get $540 a month. I guess that is enough, actually. What the
Not really, because that's how much the government calculates for me and my son.
Yeah.
Not for me, my son, my boyfriend, and his kids.
He should be working! What?
So it doesn't feed all
You
of
should
us.
not be with this man. He's a failure. We have another example of a couple who is literally just choosing not to work, choosing not to get a job, yet we are providing food stamps. I want us to provide food stamps to those who need it, to those to take care of kids, to those that are falling on hard times and are not doing it. You and your boyfriend and the baby daddy of your child is actively choosing to not get a job. What do you do for a living?
So let me get this straight. So here we have another example of able-bodied young people choosing to make decisions. One, they decided to have a child, but the most glaring decision is that they chose, or they're choosing actively to not work. Clearly, even if you wanted to say as a young child, he said that both her and her boyfriend are not working. And this is what we see a lot, but this is what we rarely like to address. And speaking of address, because we need to address this, right? This right here that we watched initially. We need to address this. Here's what I really want to address.
Show them. Show them. Show them.
Look. She has a whole man and a young child right there. First of all, shame on that man for allowing her to behave like that and not reeling it in, and ultimately just being weak and spineless and not taking control of the situation and allow his woman to just be out here representing him in all these ways. But even if you don't want to take it that way, right? And you want to just be like, oh, she should be able to just be out of control. What's he supposed to do? What's he going to say? Okay, well, if not just for how it's representing you, how about for that child that's right here? How about for your child right here?
Okay.
Are we trying to raise children to be productive, civilized citizens? Or are we just being the bad example that we try to tell them not to be, but that our actions say otherwise? Kids watch what you do. They don't pay attention to what you say. So you're throwing a temper tantrum like the kid. So if the kid ever throws a temper tantrum because it doesn't get his way with you, then you can't tell him nothing, because he's just acting out what he watched be displayed in front of him and what you ultimately taught him and trained him. Y'all, before we get into the next clip, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype.
Guess what? All of the soda, candy, etc. is gone. You can no longer buy all of your energy drinks. You can no longer get candy. You can no longer get all of those sweets that you want to buy for your kids' parties. I'm not even sure about cake anymore, because cake is considered like a candy sweet, right?
For your kids' parties.
All of your soda, energy drinks, juices, candy, all of that extra stuff that you used to get that you can't get anymore, say goodbye to it, because as of today, EBT no longer covers those. And I wonder what else is on the list, because all of these specialized things you're not going to be able to get anymore. I wonder if they're going to allow chips. Because those hot Cheetos and stuff, that's not healthy for you either. So say goodbye and hello to 2026.
Now, don't think that I'm throwing shade at Flamin' Hot Cheetos. I myself love Flamin' Hot Cheetos, just being real here. But
Me
no,
too.
they're not good for you. Like, you seriously putting Flamin' Hot Cheetos in your mouth thinking that they're healthy? Come on now. That's another argument. I'm sure that we're going to see some more clips. People being absolutely enraged by the fact that they cannot get their kids a birthday cake using food stamps anymore. I will be the first to admit that is the one thing that I can see as being disappointed for a lot of these families, because getting a sheet cake from the grocery store to celebrate your child's birthday, especially if you're in a low-income family, I completely understand how that could be a gut punch, not being able to give your child a birthday cake.
Guess what?
Yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, what she mentioned here, let's just address the most egregious, right? We got to prioritize. So let's prioritize the most egregious, which was, she said you can't ultimately buy birthday cakes and all this type of stuff for parties for your kids, which ultimately is saying I can't use taxpayer funds to basically buy food to disperse to other people's kids. No. Are you in a bad situation or not? I guess we need to start asking that question. Like, are you in a situation where it is starve or eat? Because you're being philanthropic and feeding other people's kids at parties and having parties when you're supposed to be in poverty. So are we not in poverty? Are we choosing poverty? Or is it just fraudulent altogether? I think it's really just fraudulent altogether, like that other clip we just reviewed with the woman and her boyfriend and the kid, and they're just choosing not to work and choosing to live off government assistance. I think that's more often what we see, and why we've had to constrain these things to this extent.
You know what that is? Y'all ain't fucking with me.
It says, the caption says, me after they cut my food stamps off. Oh no. What? Oh no. Are we serious? Really? And see, here's the thing, right? This is, I would assume, a mother. Oh, never mind. Whoops. Yeah, it did kind of. So never. I'm gonna show you. Never mind. Never mind. So that was just messed up all the way. Yeah. That makes it worse. So we're not gonna comment any further on that. I'm a little disgusted.
Y'all some po motherfuckers. Y'all really mad because y'all can't buy Little Bite muffins? I mean, they good and all that. With y'all food stamp card no more? And Rice Krispie treat? Y'all mad about that. Making Facebook statuses talking about, oh, how you gonna get candy? Candy? You mad because you can't spend your food stamps on candy? What? Po motherfuckers. Y'all want to be fat and bad body like me? Look at this stomach. Look at my roof. Just look. See, I don't get food stamps no more. I actually buy my groceries in cash money. That money I need. But I used to get food stamps. And to be quite honest, if I was still on food stamps and on April 20th, 2026.
You know, it's one thing to just be like, there's no shame anymore, right? Are we not ashamed of anything? But also, like, do we not even take pride in anything? Like, goodness gracious. Like, do we not take pride in just ourselves and just representing something ultimately greater than ourselves. Like, it's just, come on now. Why do we have to be the laughing stock with the way that we carry ourselves out here? I just don't understand.
If the government told me I couldn't buy no candy, no soda, no little bite muffins and Rice Krispie treats, I wouldn't give a damn. Cause you know what I'm gonna spend my food stamps on? Some fish. Look at that. You can buy that with your food stamps still. Shrimp. You can buy that with your food stamps still. Ooh, crabs. And these are gold king crab legs. You can still buy those with food stamps. And you crying about some motherfucking candy and soda. I'm talking about you can walk up in Sam's Club and get you some snow crabs, baby, throw a party. You can even get a whole lobsters with your food stamps. And you crying because you can't buy soda. Soda. Meanwhile, you and your kids could still eat steak. Steak with food stamps. And you crying about some candy and some soda.
You know,
Girl, I'm talking about T-bone.
that's actually a good point. Like, imagine all these people complaining. And it's like you really can still eat the finest of the finest foods. Like, you're complaining you can't get energy drinks and candy. And not that you can't get it, but that the designated funds aren't going to be allotted for it. You should really be grateful because pretty soon, see, she's revealing it. And pretty soon, that's going to be the next thing on the chopping block, probably. They're going to be like, no, you can't buy snow crab and lamb chops anymore with food stamps as well. So while you still have that, you should really, people aren't even appreciative of what they have until you actually then take that back, right? Think about like if you had a child and your child was acting a fool, and then it's like, okay, you can't go outside and play for a week, and you punish the child, and the child's gonna start, I can't go outside, I can't go outside, and it's gonna be like, you better stop, and it keeps going on, and it's like, okay, now you can't watch TV for a week either. So now you can't go outside or watch TV. Do you think your kid's gonna be worrying about going outside anymore? Now it's gonna move to the next recent thing. I can't watch TV. And you want them, okay? You think it can't get worse? And you can just keep going down the line just like that. And see, a child probably wouldn't be able to pick up on the pattern and know when to stop. But what we see is there's adults out here who don't have common sense and critical thinking to know when to stop while they're ahead and ultimately stop being entitled and just make the adjustment. Just make the adjustment and be grateful for what you still do have and operate within the new landscape and the new parameters that you've been assigned.
You can cook the kids some T-bone steaks with some eggs and some cheese. And you crying about a Coca-Cola. Girl, I'm talking about you could be making stoobies.
Okay, we get it. His caption says, Snap brings out the racism.
Want to see a racist?
Want to know why I'm not having an aneurysm over people losing their food stamps on November 1st? Here's why.
Come grocery shop. Okay. Go by faster. One of you.
Why is he making that face? Why is he reacting already? There hasn't been anything to react to. I'm paying attention very closely because if there is some racism, I'm gonna address it. But he's already reacting. Did I miss it? Let me go back.
Want to know why I'm not having an aneurysm over people losing their food stamps on November 1st? Here's why.
Come grocery shop. Okay. Go by faster. One of you. This what I pick, and this what he picked.
Why is he shaking his head?
I tell you what, how about this instead? If you're on food stamps, you get a pre-selected box of meat, bread, rice, food staples, and fruits and vegetables. No more handing you a debit card filled with other people's cash for you to go load up on Oreos.
Why is he reacting
What is it
already?
about government assistance that brings out the racism in people? Most SNAP recipients.
Hold on. Where was the racism? Where was the racism? Because I'm not gonna lie, like with the grocery haul content, where you see one where it's complaining. on one side, but the grocery haul content where people are like showing all the stuff they're buying with their food stamps, that extends past like races and segments. Everybody does that content in mass. Like if you go and look up that type of stuff where it's just people shopping, that'll be a melting pot of all the different ethnicities. Where it's like, come with me on my food stamp haul. That's where it gets more diverse, from my experience, and I can talk about it because this is what I review commonly. I didn't see anything racist in there so far. I'm going to be very curious to see what his explanation was of the racism, because I think she would have reacted like that probably if it was any race. Just I think her sticking point was the junk food that they were all getting, which ultimately leads to the new cuts that have been implemented, which is the junk food ban, right? So I think what she's basically saying, she's more like me, where it's just you're strict, where you're like, okay, this is government regulated funds. This is not playtime funds. This is for survival, and this is what it needs to be looked at as, so that it doesn't incentivize people like in that first clip where the woman, we keep going back to the first clip, where the woman was basically saying her and her boyfriend were living off food stamps and were choosing not to get a job. And I think that's what it ultimately is, where people shouldn't be incentivized because now they get this free money to be able to buy whatever they want. And they're actually typically at an excess. And how we know they're at an excess is because we will literally see people sell food stamps for 50 cents on the dollar, which lets you know that they have more than what they need. And I've seen people be able to save food stamps into the tens of thousands of balances on their accounts so they can ultimately convert that into real cash. But I will be curious to see what he's going to say the racism was, because I didn't see it in there. But I think this is just easy to try to just go to and jump to.
And fruits and vegetables. No more handing you a debit card filled with other people's cash for you to go load up on Oreos.
What is it about government assistance that brings out the racism in people? Most SNAP recipients are white women. It was diabolical for you to find a black woman and use her as your face of the abuse of SNAP. That video probably would have looked a lot different if you'd used a white woman with her children, but this country loves to give the white working class a sense of superiority over black people. Every dollar spent in the SNAP program leads to $1.50 returning to the economy.
Well, by his logic, right? By his logic, because really, you're saying she just picked them out. That's a big assumption, right? And we can use the same logic on him, because it seems like you're cherry picking who you get to try to pin racism on just based off the things that a lot of people review. Because I'm a black man that reacts to this type of stuff. And actually, wasn't I just reacting to a clip of a black woman in the grocery store? So why did you pick the white woman reacting to a clip of a black woman in a grocery store and not the black man reacting to the clip of a black woman in the grocery store? Oh, you chose it. Or was it just a coincidence that that's what you saw first? See, I'm not going to assume you chose it, even though it does seem like you have a motive to try to like make it racism. So it's a better chance that you went looking for a clip of a white woman reacting to black people shopping than you went looking for a black person reacting to black people shopping. But ultimately, I'm going to go in good faith and give you the benefit of the doubt and say that that was just the first thing you came across. But you're not giving her the benefit of the doubt to say that maybe that was just the first initial clip that she came across. And this is the problem. And this is where the hypocrisy comes in, and you start to see people who just have agendas. And I would further say he has an agenda because his reactions during that clip were definitely over exaggerated. And so it seems like he was trying to hype it up and build it up when it really wasn't anything of significance.
He loves to give the white working class a sense of superiority over black people. Every dollar spent in the SNAP program leads to $1.50 returning to the economy. It also creates consumers out of people who would not be. That woman would not have been able to spend $400 in that store if not for SNAP. And that helps everybody who works in the store, everybody who delivers to that store,
No, it
everybody who
doesn't.
relies on that store.
What?
Because if you subtract a significant
He said that helps by basically them subsidizing people to become bigger consumers. First of all, that hurts all of us because now the price on that junk has gone up tremendously because of the subsidization. But then he says that also helps the workers because he's spending money in the store. No, companies are having record profits and wages are not reflecting that. And wages are not reflecting the price of inflation. So what the data shows is that, yes, corporations are making more money, but that is not being dispersed to their employees, especially the ground level employees. So he is wrong about that.
or everybody who delivers to that store, everybody who relies on that store. Because if you subtract a significant portion of that store's consumers, a significant portion of the consumers to the economy who happen to be working class people who are getting their money from SNAP, then the store will have to raise its prices. If you remove a bunch of consumers, the store will have to raise its prices. And that will make life harder for you, white lady. I know you think that black woman is just taking from you, but what she is.
Wait a second. Dude, what are you talking about? Did he just say if the demand goes away and there's less people spending on stuff, that the stores would have to raise the prices? What is he talking about? Does he have any credibility? He just said by you removing the demand because of the lack of subsidization, enabling people to spend in the economy, the company would do is raise prices. So let me get this straight. If you have a dealership and it's got a bunch of cars on its lot, because I think this is a good analogy because food also has a shelf life like cars, and I would argue food has a worse shelf life than cars. Because cars, it's not like by the years going by that they're actually deteriorating. It's just that a new model's coming out, so you want to sell it fast before the new one comes out, and then the value drops. But food absolutely, in a lot of cases, deteriorates the longer time goes by. It spoils. So you mean to tell me by there being less demand, they would then raise the prices, and by there being more demand, that's what's actually keeping the prices low? That's not economics, buddy. Supply and demand. If there's not enough demand for the supply, then they would lower the prices in order to offload that demand. Let's finish, man.
Inadvertently doing is helping keep prices down for you. But the heartlessness is. Whew. But some people find it so easy to be heartless when it comes to poor black people. If you say you love America, but you don't love the people in it, then what are you talking about? You can say we're the greatest nation in the world, but if we're not taking care of our people, then how could that be? We're this great, rich, benevolent nation, but we're not taking care of our own people who are struggling? Want to
So, in closing, with this clip, no, sir. Subsidizing does not lower prices, it raises prices. Here's what I mean. Why do you think that higher education is so expensive? Because the government subsidizes a lot of it through grants, Pell Grant, etc. FAFSA, all that. Why do you think that all this junk food, you can go and buy a regular bag of Lay's chips is $8. She was just talking about she likes hot Cheetos. Hot Cheetos are not cheap. You can extrapolate this through a plethora of things. We can, if you don't believe me, if you don't take my word for it, we can look it up. Okay, so just saying subsidies in itself, that's too broad because you can subsidize supply as well as subsidize demand. But I just put the subsidizing EBT generally raise prices or lower prices. It says subsidizing electronic benefit transfer or SNAP generally puts upward pressure on food prices. Through the actual macroeconomic impact is complex and frequently debated. Economic principles indicate that an increasing demand through subsidies causes prices to rise. Increased demand, injecting billions in purchasing power into the grocery market, increases overall food demand, causing prices to rise unless supply easily accommodates the change. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Her caption says, y'all be judging people for being mad about food stamps.
So let me get this right. Y'all don't want us on food stamps, right? Y'all prefer us to work. But in this economy, even people that's working need food stamps. And the saddest part about it is that a lot of these jobs not even hiring to begin with. So people that's on food stamps, a lot of them not even choosing to be on food stamps. These jobs not even hiring like they should be. The job market is trash. And a lot of y'all in the comments like, well, you shouldn't need food stamps. Y'all don't get this by now. We in a whole new world today, baby. Even a person making up to $100K a year could use some food stamps right now. You get what I'm saying? And when you get to a point where you're taking food out of people's mouths, it can get dangerous. People.
She said even a person making $100K a year can use some food stamps right now. Okay, the question is why? Are you saying that a single person with no other responsibilities other than themselves needs food stamps right now? Okay, now we got to start asking questions. Where do you live? Are you living in California, New York? Okay. Why can't you survive off $100K a year? And I think what we would unpack, especially if we were able to look at their statements, is that they have a spending problem and they're buying a lot of things that they don't need and they're not prioritizing saving.
Out of people's mouths, it can get dangerous. People are going to start taking it. Do you hear me? People are going to start taking that food. They're not going in there asking no. They're going to start taking that food. Why? Because we have to eat. We have to eat. Point blank, period. People die if they don't eat. What do you mean it's crazy for people to say they're going to walk in the store and just take the food? What else are they going to do? Because let's be real about it. These jobs don't even pay people enough to even survive regardless. Then when we try to use the food stamps that's put in place for people that's struggling, that'd be the first thing they try to take away. You get what I'm saying? They think it's a game and it's nothing funny about it. So when these motherfuckers start walking in these stores and taking what they need for dinner for their families and their kids, I don't want to hear shit. Because it's a lose-lose situation regardless. With a 9 to 5, without a 9 to 5. You can work in 2 jobs and still struggling. People with jobs need food stamps. People that's on food stamps without a job can't get a job because the job market sucks. And even if they do have a job, they still can't fucking afford food. So y'all that's judging in the comments, well, why would you steal? People need to feed their families. Point blank, period. Bye.
And then when you decide to go steal, all that's going to be is another self-inflicted wound that you're going to have to now maneuver and navigate life with. And then it's going to just make your situation a lot harder. And that's going to be another then reason that you decide to make yourself a victim and say that, oh, I need it. What can we do? We don't have no options. Yeah, because you chose to steal and go get something on your criminal record. And now every time you try to go for a job, it flags in the background check. And so now it's even harder for you to get a job. But nobody told you to start stealing and even start advocating for other people to start stealing. What are we talking about here? Like, people try to come online and galvanize people to do all the worst things for them in the long term and all the things that's going to cripple and sabotage their future ultimately. Her caption says, food stamps are 50 cents on the dollar. I don't care.
And I'm finna start reporting you bitches that get food stamps. When I was growing up, baby, food stamps was 50 cents on the dollar, okay? So if you wanted 100, you gonna pay 50. 200, you gonna pay 100, so forth and so on. What the fuck is 100 for 70? Excuse me, what is, you know what I'm saying, 300 for 220? You're getting it for the free though. So I don't want to hear, oh, groceries is expensive these days. Either way it goes, it does not matter. You're getting it completely for free. It does not matter. 50 cents on the dollar. Y'all barely saving motherfuckers $1 these days. You're getting it for free. And are y'all forgetting that you're doing something illegal? You're doing something illegal. Baby, y'all better get with the program. Because either way it go, when y'all sitting up here charging this, and only fools paying for it, because I would never. I only 50 cents on the dollar. That's all I got. But when y'all sitting up here overcharging people, like, Yeah, the groceries is expensive for the motherfuckers that's giving you the cash. Like, y'all too money hungry for me, baby. 50 cents on the dollar. You're getting it for the free. Like, who raised y'all? Like, who do y'all be feeling like? Like, we're losing recipes here. We're genuinely losing recipes. Like, I'm not understanding.
She tried to take the higher moral stance as far as like, do y'all know that y'all doing something illegal? Like she got leverage over them. Ma'am, if you're implicated in it as well, buying it, you're doing something illegal too, and you're also participating in the fraud. And see, this is what we don't address because you're taking advantage of it too. That really is a sweet deal when we don't ever really just take a second to really just process like what that really is saying. Like people on food stamps are taking advantage because they're getting stuff for free. But then, I mean, if you participated in the way she's saying, and you want to buy $500 worth of groceries and just really stock your house up, and it'll only cost you $250. And so now, because I'm not going to lie, grocery bills, because of the subsidization, like the brother did not acknowledge, grocery bills, because of how people are getting subsidized and ultimately driving up food prices, is very expensive. It's starting to get comparative to a car note, especially goodness forbid you have multiple people in your household. And so to be able to cut that in half is very substantial. But again, it's you're getting over on the system just as good as they are because you just cut your grocery bill in half. But see, the pros for you is that you still get to work and bring in as much income as you want. Whereas the people on government assistance are crippled because if they start showing significant income, then their benefits would get cut back. So it's like both sides are really taking good advantage of things, right? But ultimately, my point is that you are also implicated in on this. People don't really understand this. People don't really ever acknowledge this. Of course, let's be real. The government doesn't typically prosecute people for these type of things. And at the most, what they do is they claw the money back. So that will protect you. Because if it's just something where they just decide to claw back the money, of course, then you wouldn't be responsible or they wouldn't worry about it. Especially that would be a very complex thing to try to prosecute. Because if somebody has food stamps and they're selling their food stamps, most likely they have a nice little list of people that they exchange their food stamps with. So it would just be easier to take the initial offender and the one who is directly working with the government, i.e. the person actually receiving the benefits. But just keep in mind, you are still implicated if they so chose to. Y'all, we'll leave it there for today. If you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And also, if you could hype the video. Hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically, when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I am a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And hype was designed for smaller channels. So that's why we get more points. But if you go to a video and you don't see the hype button, then it's probably been over 7 days. And hype usually vanishes after 7 days. So that's why. And also, if you want to become a member of the channel, then you can click that join button that you should see on the video. And becoming a member, what that comes with is you will be a part of the DXU family. And that means badges next to your comments where people can see that you're a member and it has that prestige, as well as you will get access to early content and exclusive content. So if you want to become a member, definitely feel free. The join button's right there. And until then, y'all, I will see you in the next video.